Slavery is back.
Welcome to a place where private business profit from a captive labour force, yet pennies are spent on medical services to a population in which the Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin' Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin' Time show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. And a warning that this episode of Doin' Time contains audio images of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have died and graphic discussion of deaths in custody. This is Marissa and I'll be taking you through until 5 o'clock this evening. First of all, joining us on the show, we have June Reamer. She is a Gumbaynggirr woman living on community in Nambucca Heads, North Coast, New South Wales. June will talk about a program she is involved with called Short Track in Maxville, New South Wales, supporting disengaged youth to get their lives back on track through learning skills that improve learning and community connections. And she's worked over 40 years in lots of services to maintain respect for First Nation communities. I've had the pleasure of interviewing June, along with the beautiful Kelly, who's also First Nations, for Disability Day year after year. But today we will be doing something very different, and I'm really looking forward to talking with June. After that, we'll bring you an interview with Tom Feebeck from the Refugee Action Collective, and he'll speak about an anti-racist march, and also, I suppose I'm going to call it a counter-protest, against Put Australia First anti-immigration rally yesterday. And I'll be linking that up with a media release from New South Wales, because there was one on Saturday all about Nazi rallies, and Tom Robinson from National Socialist Network was a speaker from London as well. Hundreds of people went to the Stand Against Racism rally in New South Wales to say no to the anti-immigrant Put Australia First. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. A lot of horrible slogans there. But we'll talk about that later, and Tom will talk about the Melbourne rally. And after that, we'll speak with Auntie Alison Fuller, and we're going to speak with her about the group that she's from, Grandmothers Against Removal. I've previously interviewed Alison, I believe in 2021, along with Auntie Reamer, in regards to Stolen Generation. Alison will speak to us today about Grandmothers Against Removal in Victoria, and we'll speak about what it is and the impacts of transgenerational trauma on youth and Aboriginal people as a whole. But first up, I'd like to, and I'm delighted to welcome June to the program. Hello, June.
Hello, Disengaged, which is hello and welcome in my language, the Gumbaynggirr language.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, June, can you just tell listeners in your own words what land you're from?
So I'm from Gumbaynggirr country, which is the north coast of New South Wales, around the Coffs Harbour region, but I live in the Nambucca Heads Valley, and we're sided by Kempsey, Taree, for some people may know those names, Port Macquarie. So all around me is quite significant areas. The Waterfall Way, which goes up Belgian, which is the highest inland rainfall area and tropical forest in the world. It's a UNESCO area. So we're surrounded with beautiful beaches and rainforest.
I didn't know Coffs Harbour had rainforest.
Yep.
I think I'm going to have to go and pay a visit to your country sometime.
Yes, you definitely have to.
So, June, you've spent 40 years working across social services, ensuring the rights of First Nations people, that they're respected and supported. On this show, we do a lot of work around building the movement to stop Aboriginal deaths in custody. And this year, in particular, Doing Time show has really looked at the drastic bail laws that have come through to Victoria, and I'm sure New South Wales will have them too eventually. And there's a lot of impact on youth, isn't there? Can you talk about short tracks and what's going on there?
Yes, so I'm on a board of a local organisation called Short Track. And I think, what we're talking about this afternoon is how can we stop incarceration of our First Nations youth and all youth in that story. But Short Track is a mentoring program for those that don't fit within the Western concept of what schooling looks like, what homing looks like. So it's a cultural wraparound. And what it is, it's for youth that, male and female, that don't fit in the system. So, we have a lot of young people come to us that are homeless, expelled from school, or just facing social issues in general. So the concept of Short Track is for the youth to come along, but it's also about two-way learning. So learning respect, learning, how to work in team environments. But in learning all those skills, it's about, uplifting them to feel that they are important and the system is letting them down. And Short Track allows kids to learn all sorts of skills, from trades to horticulture. We look after a lot of farms when people go on holidays, for example, so alpaca farms, or maybe doing some fencing and gardening, lawn mowing. So, with all of these jobs, the kids do get a little bit of feedback from those, so we do pay them to do the jobs. So it's not free labour, so people understand. But when they're learning a trade, what we have is how it originally, came together. This program was in the area. There's obviously, in many areas across Australia, there's retired people that, want to give back and volunteer in the community. So it started with retirees that may have, certain skills in the different trades. And them coming, so we have a shed where we have different booths set up for carpentry, sheet metal work, electrician, all of these programs. And the kids learn, how to operate things effectively and appropriately. So OH&S is very important. But it's building that team environment and giving them a sense of worth, I guess what it's, a lot of these kids do have a disability background and have been undiagnosed, for example, all their life. But, when they come to the shed, it's about just being part of a team that everyone wants to see each other succeed and work along each other. And there's no hierarchical. So half the team are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. So we have those, mentors that have can help you understand your background too, or language differences or whatever it may be. And I think, we need to look more at these sort of programs, alternative programs. And this all started with no funding. So there's no funding attached to this. We've been able to, get small philanthropic funding here, there, and we're always looking for new funding. Only this week they won a Hyatt Award, the Hyatt Hotels in Sydney, Connecting Communities Award. So, that's recognising the great work that the team that work at Short Track and are ensuring that, our youth have a future.
Fantastic.
So just on some numbers, over 50% of these kids are Aboriginal. And in last year alone, we had over 100 move on to full-time traineeships. So it's also connecting, services with our youth and mentoring them in place, so we don't just leave them behind.
That's great. And would you say that a lot of the kids, we all know that Aboriginal children, well, indeed Aboriginal people are over-incarcerated. And I'm hoping that this could be also outreach for, young people in the foster care system, for example.
Well, we do. There's a lot of the children, do, and I didn't want to, overemphasise that too
That's
much,
all right.
but there are children that can't come from that system and for whatever reason are not working out with their foster care arrangements. So we have kids that are homeless too that come to the system, and it's about, that wraparound service. How can we support them, with their current living arrangements or help them to find other living arrangements? And so it's about, understanding and listening. And I think that's the important part, our education system is not really there for listening and understanding people's backgrounds and why they don't fit in, what's going on at home. Are they coming to school hungry, and so they act out because of hunger. We know poverty is a massive issue across Australia, not just for Aboriginal, but for, many families.
Yeah.
The cost of living is just off the Richter scale for, many people now. And it's the kids that suffer for no fault of their own. And it's not the parents necessarily, but, when you've got teenagers and the intersections that happen in their lives, it's a crash waiting to happen many times. And how can we help these kids to stay out of incarceration? So, we need more programs like this. And I know there are a lot of good programs, across Australia, but there's not enough. Because I'll say it again over and over, the westernised, colonialised school system does not fit everyone. We need alternative ways of doing things. And if it's helping young kids get a trade, so they've got a future, they've got an income, they, have self-esteem, that's a better outcome than sitting in a uniform from 9 to 3 and working under a system that has never really, encouraged, other ways of thinking or other cultural outcomes.
Absolutely, June. How can people, community get in touch with this program?
There is a website. You can go on the website to Shore Track. We're open to donations and that. So starting from next year, we've been authorised and now to we're opening up a school for those kids that, just not finding the mainstream systems fitting them. So we're only starting with 20 for the first year. We're just doing this slowly. And it'll be that kids 9 and 10, if they choose to, can come to our Gummer Place School, it's called, and they'll still learn the basics of, maths and English and science, but while they're at school, they're learning a trade. And so our ultimate goal is if they go through to Year 12, they're already qualified with some sort of trade or certificates of achievement in certain skill sets. So it's like the old TAFE vet courses, but, what we see, I don't know in Victoria so much, but I know in New South Wales, a lot of our TAFEs have now gone online rather than in person, and culturally that don't work for our mob. Not everyone has the internet, not everyone has a laptop or a computer.
Exactly.
So, the system's moving on, and I know life changes, but there's always people that are left behind. And so I guess we're picking up, those that are left behind that a system's not thinking about or not being inclusive enough.
Well, that's right. And as we say so many times on this show, we need communities, not prisons.
Correct.
And, the children going into adult prisons, they've got a lot of legislation in Victoria at the moment, proposed legislation, where children may be going into adult prisons. It's simply, it's not age appropriate.
Yeah.
The brain is not developed enough, for a child to commit a crime.
Yeah. I said we've all been teenagers at some stage in our life,
Yeah, that's right. June, I'm going to have to go on to my next interview because I got another interview unexpectedly today.
Okay.
But June,
yes, all right.
Is it all right if we actually come back together and have a yarn next year? I'd really like to have you back regularly on the show.
And I can update you on the school, how it's going.
Could you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good. And, I've got. I'm happy to share other programs that I know about
Please.
that are happening. Not only in New South Wales but up in the Northern Territory, and it's all about mentoring. At the end of the day, it's lifting people up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty important, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, because once a year is not enough for us to yarn.
Yep.
I think we need to do it a bit more often.
Oh, that's good.
Anything
so
else you'd like to look at?
well for the season and travel safe and stay safe.
Thank you so much, June.
All right. Bye.
Lovely to have you. Bye. And you just heard an interview with June Reamer, who is a First Nations woman living in community in New South Wales, and she spoke about a new program that's happening called Short Track.
Tune in to Right Relations and Innovations, 3CR's International Day of People with Disability broadcast on 3rd of December, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Hear visions of a safe future for everyone and the relationships and innovations that can get us there. For details, visit 3cr.org.au/Disability Day 2025.
You're listening to 3CR Community Radio, Doing Time Show, 855 AM on the dial. Streaming live on www.3cr.org.au, and you're with Marissa. Next up on the show, we've got Tom Feebeck, and he's from the Refugee Action Collective, and he's going to be giving an eyewitness account about what happened at the Australia First rally on Sunday, although when I was speaking to him off air, it appears that the cops actually blocked the counter-protest, which were the anti-racist protesters. And in fact, we'll also talk a little bit about what happened in New South Wales as well, because there were actually Nazis that were organising the main rally. It is absolutely deplorable, and it actually has incredible connections to, what's happening with asylum seekers and refugees. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Marissa. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's so lovely to have you. What disgraceful conduct yesterday, huh?
Absolutely. This is just the latest in racist marches that we've seen over the last couple of months. The rally that happened yesterday, the racist march, was put on by Put Australia First, which featured a range of racist speakers, a bunch of conspiracy theorists, a speaker from the Lions of Zion, who is an extreme Zionist, who are actually going off to celebrate the pager attacks, the killings that Israel did recently. Some of the other speakers that they had at the racist march was Tommy Robinson, who is the UK's most prominent fascist, who led that terrifying 150,000 person march in London recently. And the late-minute addition to the racist march was Pauline Hanson, straight off the back of her Islamophobic stunt in Parliament. She decided to fly down to Melbourne and join the racist march and continue to stoke her Islamophobia and her hate on the streets of Melbourne.
And where did this take place?
So the racists, I believe, assembled up at Parliament. Again, not too sure where they were, because on the ground, the anti-racists that assembled, we were not able to really march, even get into eye shot of them, because on our side, about 500 people. Medias are reporting about maybe 700 on the opposing side, but overwhelmingly, actually, there was thousands of police on the ground. A really disproportionate police presence that really prevented us from peacefully marching and showing that refugees and migrants are welcome here, racist or not, which was the purpose of that march, of the counter demonstration yesterday.
It really is the most deplorable state of affairs that march was allowed to continue.
That's right. And in terms of the police conduct, it was very much similar to what we saw at the earlier rallies, where they were much more protecting the racists and the far right and harassing us than keeping us safe there. So as reported in the media, as of yesterday, large parts of the CBD have now been declared a designated area, which meant that the police could come and search people without having any reasonable ground, any suspicion. And so that's what we did see, police coming up, searching people, asking for people to take their masks off. Obviously, people have very legitimate reasons for wearing masks. It's particularly hay fever season and everything else.
And COVID.
And COVID as well, absolutely.
So the legislation for masks has obviously gone ahead, right?
So in terms of the designated area powers, that's all gone through, and they're certainly using that immediately.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I'm not surprised, to be honest. And there's been quite a lot of audio from the Dissent Coalition and anti-protest laws that have come through. So were you asked to take your mask off? Did you have any experience?
I didn't have a personal experience of that at that rally, but I know of other people who are asked, who were searched quite at random or to demonstrate those powers, essentially.
So not only was the Australia First March allowed to go ahead with a bunch of Nazis and racists speaking, not only were the protesters, anti-racist protests, kept back, but there was also police powers in full force sympathising with the Nazis and also effectively exercising their powers, over-exercising their powers of masks.
That would be my interpretation. Areas. Yeah, that's how I would interpret. Certainly, that's the display that they put on was much more about, I think, intimidating us than it was, keeping us safe.
So, although politicians have said, and particularly the Premier of New South Wales, for example, because I know that there was a rally on Saturday as well, a Nazi rally, and I believe that a lot of politicians are saying that the Nazi Nationalist Socialist Network rally is deploring disgusting behaviour, but politicians in Parliament have been very silent about the open British Nazi Tommy Robinson speaking to the Put Australia First rally.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, obviously we've seen the coalition fanning the flames of racism as well, particularly Andrew Hastie blaming the Indian migrants and the Liberals blaming international students. Last week in Parramatta, I know an Indian Australian was racially harassed and punched in the face. At the Melbourne March, we were actually trying to console a trans person who was there and who was feeling quite under threat, as you would understand, from the growing far right movement and the fact that now the neo-Nazi party has registered an electoral party. So I think it's one thing to condemn the Nazis on the streets from the mainstream politicians, but it's quite another, I think, for them they actually have to look at themselves and their own policies, which are really fanning those flames.
That's right. I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it, that the federal Labor's made much of its actions cancelling the visa of one of the NSN protesters from South Africa, but deporting Nazis won't stop won't stop all that rot, will it? It's Labor's actions cutting immigration numbers and implementing Trump-like laws to deport refugees that is boosting racism, isn't it?
That's right. And so in the Refugee Action Collective, over the past, I guess, half a year or so, we've been really focused on those, advocating around those, opposing those new deportation laws that Labor's put in. So I think last year Labor introduced the slate of laws basically making it possible for them to deport up to 80,000 refugees, to cancel the visas of up to 80,000 refugees and then deport them. And then this year they've passed another law, essentially, which allows ICE-style border force raids of migrants. So very much that same racist Trump-style system. So while the racists and a small number of fascists on the street saying we want an end to mass immigration, we want deportations, Labor's actually introduced policies that very much make that possible. They're the ones in government that have those laws, and they're already starting to send a handful of refugees back to Nauru.
Look, we actually need militant action. We actually need to take community mobilisations to say migrants are welcome and to get the Nazis and the racists off our streets, run them out of town.
Absolutely. And one of those, when these first racist marches came around in RAC, we absolutely saw the need to have those big, broad rallies that say migrants are welcome here, refugees are welcome here. We want this country to be a welcoming, inclusive and diverse country. We stand for fairness and justice. So we put on a rally it was on a public holiday, but we got over 60 organizations to endorse it, had 10 unions to endorse it, and made it quite a family-friendly event. Now, I know in Sydney they've also had a big counter-demonstration on the Saturday as well, which did also bring in different sections of the community, Young Labour Left, the Greens, migrant groups as well. I think absolutely when the racists are mobilizing, we do need to have a proud and loud and family-friendly counter-mobilization, because if we don't, then the racists will be emboldened and our side will feel intimidated and feel less confident to defend the existence of migrants and refugees and oppressed people living in this country.
Absolutely, and this is something that I mention quite often on this show, because the Doing Time show always goes back to colonisation and always goes back to stolen generation. And one of the things that I often discuss on this show is the attack on camp sovereignty, and about how the government, this needs to become a federal offence. It needs to become a hate crime, and there needs to be a full investigation needs to be implemented against the Nazis that were not stopped by the police to attack Aboriginal women and children, and non-Aboriginal people too, at Camp Sovereignty. Can you comment on that?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a disgusting and disgraceful attack, and I think people are asking questions as to the hypocrisy, why they seem to be let off easy while so many other people are experiencing the tough policing on the day. Like I said, it's not the racists that are feeling the brunt of the state, but it's the anti-racists. I think it's the same. That same point was made when the New South Wales police let the fascists essentially march, have their rally outside of New South Wales Parliament. Like, they submitted their Form 1, I think it's called, their form to say we're going to have a protest, and the police did nothing. Whereas when the Palestine movement did that, the police came in and said, no, we're not going to let you march. I mean, the Palestine movement, the refugee movement, other social justice movements are there for justice, equality, human rights. The neo-Nazis are there for attacking migrants and smashing working class organizations. So
Yep, absolutely.
It's quite clear what the priorities of.
Yeah. Tom, thank you so much for coming onto the program. It's been lovely to have you, and I'd like to have you on as a regular guest next year.
That would be fantastic. Is there a little bit of time for me to just plug
Very
the
quickly.
next thing?
Very quickly.
Beautiful. So we have coming up on December 10, Human Rights Day, a speak out to say refugees are welcome here, stop racist deportations. That's at 5:30 p.m. at corner Burke and Swanston Street. If you want to get in touch with RAC, look at our Facebook and our Instagram. We have regular Monday night meetings. So we're meeting tonight at 6:30 p.m. over Zoom and in person. So you can get those details online as well.
Tom, thank you so much and take care of yourself. Hit the streets.
It was my pleasure being on.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Tom from the Refugee Action Collective speaking about an Australia First rally, some deplorable anti-immigration rallies happening over the weekend.
Eureka is a feeling we've all had once or twice. Heed the call and stand up tall or we will pay the price.
Well. Wednesday, the 3rd of December is a Eureka Day. What are you doing? You're listening to Community Radio 3CR. If you are, tune in at 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. to hear the live broadcast of the Eureka celebrations hosted by Reclaim the Radical Spirit of the Eureka Rebellion Group and Ballarat and Western Regions Trades Hall at Eureka Park at the corner of Eureka and Stall Street. If you can't make it, you can always listen to the opening dawn ceremony on Community Radio 3CR. If you can make it, the celebrations start at 4 a.m. and finish with dinner, which finishes around 10 p.m. See you on the 3rd of December. Otherwise, listen in to the live broadcast between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Community Radio 3CR.
Head to 3cr.org.au/Eureka171 for more information.
I'm setting the alarm that day. I want to listen to it. Anyway, this is the Doing Time show. In case you've just tuned in, 3CR Community Radio. Next up, we're going to be speaking with Alison Fuller, who is First Nations. She's going to tell us what land she's from. She's from Grandmothers Against Removal, Victoria, and Grandmothers Against Removal draws on the wisdom, strength and compassion of Aboriginal grandmas and aunties to support children and their families at risk of separation. So we're going to be talking with her about stolen generation and also look at perhaps people making donations because there's no government funding. Hello, Alison, welcome.
Hello.
It's so great to have you. Now, Auntie, I'm wondering if you could just tell us, first of all, what land you're from.
Western Australia.
Beautiful.
Yes, I've got family in the Kimberley, in the Pilbara and in the all over the Western Australia.
Perfect. And you're living in the Kulin Nations, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful. Now, Alison, can you just tell us a little bit about Grandmothers Against Removal?
Yes. In late 2018, Lydia Thorpe rang and asked me if I'd like to start a branch of GMA here, Grandmothers Against Removal, and yes, the first chance I had to take up that offer, I did. And Rio and I went up to Parliament House and had lunch with her and launched. And since then, we've been helping families, children, mothers, grandparents, fathers, and there seems to be no end to it. It seems like the good old government is turning out more children, stolen children, with no skills whatsoever. And we're fighting against this because it's no good for our community and it's deliberate on their part.
It is. I mean, would you say it's 1788 all over again?
Yes.
It's true, isn't it? I mean, it's just a different form.
Yes.
But
yeah, their idea was to, eradicate us in the first place, and they're still trying.
Tell us a little bit about some of the good work that you're doing with child protection.
Yes, well, we work with them to a certain extent, but we're mostly there for the parents, and we're sticking up for their rights and holding the department accountable because they jump in. They jump when somebody makes a false claim, and 10 o'clock at night, everybody's in bed, everybody's calming down, and police knock on the door with DHS. So police are using police. DHS is using, or DFFH, are using the police with their guns to put our people in fear. And many times we've been able to ring up, Rio and I, to tell the people to back off and leave. You know, come back and deal at a decent time and let us know what the complaints are. Because a lot of the times they just say, oh, we've heard this, and bam, your children are gone. And then the parents have to jump through hoops, ridiculous freaking hoops, and then they keep moving the goalposts, and it's near impossible for our people to get their children back after they've been removed for a nonsensical reason.
What's the reaction to the department to Grandmothers Against Removal?
They're happy that we're there. They're happy they're involved because, of course, a lot of the workers don't know anything about blackfellas apart from what they're told by media and the government and their department. And 9 times out of 10, it's bad. It's all bad. So, yeah, we've got a great struggle ahead of us to turn it around. But mostly we have to stop the stealing because it is destroying our community. I can see it. Yeah. It's disgusting.
I'd like to hear more about the stealing. Can you tell us about the stolen generation in case there are listeners that have tuned in that don't know anything?
Yes. Well, the governmental people decided that, now isn't it strange, that they need to remove our children to make them more like them, assimilated, but yet they don't have any knowledge of their own. They're just going on false reports. Yeah. And, we need more workers. We have about 7 around Victoria. Rio and I are the main ones, and we've got Desley Dwyer down in Bairnsdale. Yep. There's some Harrison ladies up in the north. Yep. Echuca and Mildura. But we need more people to step up. We cannot heal our community by allowing the government to continue doing what they're doing and placing our children with white people who have no idea of how we are. And so they look at our children's behaviour as bad behaviour. But no, they're black kids. They're not like theirs. But the main problem that I see is that at the moment a lot of our young people going through now are from the department, have been in the care of the department, and have no living skills whatsoever. This is a really big impact on the community, on the whole community, because
it's true.
It's just full on. And the department also deters any blackfellas from wanting to help their family or help other blackfellas because they then look at the criminal history from when people were teenagers and, oh, no, you did this then, so, you're no good. And this might be, 20, 30 years later. The person's an adult, not a child, yet they always, have that stigma.
It's a mess. It's really a mess. And you've got our old people as well that, they go back. That a lot of First Nations people don't have birth certificates, and you've got also people when they were little, isn't it? They'd already committed a crime because back then, not that they were committing crimes, but back then it was a crime to be a ward of the state.
Yes, exactly. And that continues on through, to adulthood, and it's just absolutely bloody ridiculous.
It is.
And yet they're fully focused on our people to try and stop them, and yet there are so many worse criminals out there, pedophiles, who are the main ones that are creeping into the system and doing all the damage. It's almost, it feels like to me that it's deliberate. You know, those people are placed there to stuff our people up, to break them spiritually, physically, mentally, you know, anything.
Yeah, and it's so good, isn't it, that the group is able to be a buffer, if you like, to help, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it feels really great to be able to help people. But word needs to get around that we're here and that we can help, because a lot of the times the cases we get are after the children have been removed. And
there almost needs to be a notification service.
Yeah, what, for GMAR?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as they hear or see somebody at their front door, call GMAR. Because these people are totally illegal. They have no rights to be doing this to our people. And our people have to stand up and say enough is enough. United we stand, divided we fall. At the moment, I feel very divided because there's not many people wanting to be active in saving their own community, because we're all related. Doesn't matter what state we're from. So we should be caring for each other and acting accordingly. And, you know, fighting against the system. And we need to, you know, link up, join up. Yeah. Let's all become a really strong force to stand against these people, because, well, Auntie Rio, she does most of the, she's our main spokeswoman. She does most of the dealings. I take calls and, you know, information and stuff like that. I was actually stolen generation myself. And so I know exactly what these children are going through and young people. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm wanting to, you know, make a difference and stop it, because it's just ridiculous.
So you were stolen generation. What happened to you, Alison?
Yeah, well, 1967, Aboriginal people were declared fully human. And after that, my siblings and I were stolen. My sisters, we were stolen on the way back from school. We had this weird experience, so that as we were walking past the public phone, it started ringing. And we girls didn't know what the heck that was. We'd seen Mum use the phone but never heard it ring. So we sort of danced around being little gigs. Oh, you know, what's this? And then the big sister says, shall I answer it? And we all said yes. And someone answered the phone and said to her, does your mother beat you? And Mum reared us to be good little honest girls. So my sister said, yeah, she flogs us all the time. Oh, and that flogging was, you know, dunk, 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 3 little smacks on the bum. It's not a flogging. It's not a beating. Anyway, after the phone hung up, a big black car pulled up and chucked all us 4 girls in there, took us up to Perth. Mum didn't know where we were for a whole week.
What happened then?
Then they somehow took my brothers, because the brothers were still with Mum and Dad, and they took them and we were put in a mission.
And were you kept there forever, like for a long time?
Well, actually, we were there from 5 till I was 12. 5 years old to 12 years old.
You didn't see your mum until then?
Oh, no, I saw my mum. My mum wasn't going to let white people boss her around, so she would come and visit us.
Oh, wow.
You know, so we maintained contact. We knew exactly, you know, who we were, who our mob was, but a lot of the kids don't. A lot of the people in institutions have lost all contact. And, you know, we've even got one GMAR sister in that situation. She doesn't know who she is properly and I think her mother... No, her mother was... she was stolen from her mother, and then when she went back, the mother didn't like her because, of course, she was acting like a white girl.
Oh.
You know, she didn't know how to act black.
Yeah.
And so Mother said, off you go. Mother wasn't interested in it, and that's the really sad thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's really, really sad. That's really awful.
Yes. And it's ongoing. They're still doing it. We've had a couple of success stories, but ultimately it's just too much. And a lot of the time our young people who are, in care, reared by the system, they don't know love, they don't know self-care, they don't know, cleaning your house, they don't know cooking, they don't know how to look after children, they don't know how to love.
That's right.
And this is the big thing that really gets me, because then, they find a man, have all these children, and then all of a sudden they've got brain damage from being beaten because people don't know what love is.
It happened to Auntie Vicky Roach, and she makes no secret of it.
Yes.
Auntie, there's just so much to do and so much to talk about, and I'm really honoured that you've been able to share your story. And look how you're helping people now, you and Rio.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. Can you tell us how listeners can make donations?
Yes. We have a bank account with Bank Australia in Fitzroy. I'm just trying to look if I can find the numbers.
That's all right.
No, I can't.
If you can't, don't worry, because you can always text it to me and then I can read it out next week.
Yes, all right. Cool, we'll do that.
And there is an email actually on the website for Grandmothers Against Removal, and I'm sure all the contact details will be on there as well.
Absolutely.
But do text me the details, and I'll do it for next. I'll come up next week and do it on air. Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, I'd just love to encourage our people to stand up to the invaders. Like, there's a lot of talk about how we have to decolonise ourselves, and that's absolutely true, because too many of our people are now, siding with the invader. They think that their way is best. They're forgetting that we were here first, and we lived here successfully for, hundreds of thousands of years. So our people need to remember who we are and stand up. Stand up against this injustice. Fight for our people, especially our children. Because if we don't, who will? And the white people are not on our side. And I'm not racist.
No.
Well, when I say white people, I say government.
Yeah.
I mean government. They're not on our side. They try to pretend that they are, but they are not. So please wake up our people and come and help us. Fight for our children. They're important. They're so important. This is our future. It's our future. We need to stand up and be strong.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, religion...
Please, give us a call. Give us a call. Any kinds of skills you've got, we need help.
And
so we will accept anybody's assistance, as long as their heart is pure and they want to do the right thing by all of us. Anybody's welcome.
So are you're reaching out to First Nations people?
Anybody and everybody, because in the long run, we're all related. Doesn't matter what country.
Black, white or brindle?
Black, white, brindle. We all need to stand up, because it also happens to white children.
It does.
And so then, it's just ridiculous. But we have the power to stand up. The government is totally illegal. They're illegal. They're a private corporation. They are not the government of Australia. They're not working in the best interests of the people of Australia. So we need to stand up and tell them, stand down, get out. We can look after our own business. And I mean, it's really, what's the word? Like my father-in-law, my father-in-law once asked me to write a book talking about how they were stealing our children and yet they were forcing our children to look after theirs.
Yeah.
Even to the point of breastfeeding their children. And, so it's quite ridiculous the way that they are.
It is. It is. And while it's true that Aboriginal people, they need to be the ones to be consulted, particularly in regards to their children.
Yes.
The non-Aboriginal people can also help too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on for anybody to help us get the hell out of this, gutter. That's how I'm seeing it, because the heartache, the brain damage our people suffer, not only being picked on by police, but then their partners who are also picked on police. It's a savage catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
It can be stopped, and we must do our best to do that.
The white man's religion has also played a very crucial part in dispossessing Aboriginal people's language and ceremony, hasn't it?
Yes, in some cases. But I myself am a Christian. I was taken to a Christian mission. Unfortunately, there were pedophiles there, but...
Sure.
When it comes to spirituality, we have to discern what is the truth for ourselves. And for me, I believe we have a creator God, a great creator spirit.
Yep.
And he made us all in his image. So we are all wonderful, really. Yep. We just need to realise it.
I'm so glad you were able to comment on that, Alison, and it's really great that you've been able to talk about everything. And you're listening to 3CR Doing Time Show, and this show is about building the movement to stop Aboriginal deaths in custody, stolen generation, and speaking to people like Arnie Allison from Grandmothers Against Removal, who talks a lot about this very important resource. Any final comments before we finish?
Just a call out, please join us. Please help us save ourselves, especially if you're one of us, because we have all the tools. Let's join together. Let's realise exactly who we are and how we can defend ourselves, protect ourselves from this savage system which, thinks it's going to go on forever and destroy us completely. We have to stand against it. Please join us. GMAR Victoria, Grandmothers Against Removal. It was started in New South Wales by Annie Hazel Collins, and we're very happy that she did that because, it's time that we dictate our own lives. Time for us to decide how we're going to be, not how white people are going to use and abuse and destroy us.
Exactly. Oh, wow, I remember interviewing Arnie Hazel ages ago.
Yeah, and this is how stupid they are. Now, Arnie Hazel, she was a nurse for 40 years. And when it came time for her to put her hand up for her first great-grandson, the department decided she was unworthy.
Oh, my God.
She was a nurse for 40 years. My mother was a nurse for more than 40 years. But, that says to me a lot. She's a very capable woman, but the government has knocked her down.
It's disgusting.
She now has dementia. That's sort of coming up. And this is what them judging us negatively does to us. Destroys us. Makes us second guess and think, what? When they're in the wrong, not us. And how dare they call us unacceptable. They are in our land. They really are backward people.
Very much so. Alison, thank you so much for coming onto the program, and I'm hoping I can have you back for a yarn. And you're always welcome to come in to the studios of 3CR anytime and yarn with me here.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Say hello to Arnie Rio for me.
Yes, and thank you for having us.
And I'll text me the details and I'll read out the bank details next week.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
bye.
And that was Arnie Alison Fuller from Grandmothers Against Removal Victoria. And they desperately need people to help.
Genocide, it's a genocide. Genocide, it's a genocide.
Crime Scene Australia has two important events coming up that we'd love to see you at. Our Land, Our Law is a discussion panel on Aboriginal law and sovereignty on Monday, December 1st from 5 p.m. at Arnie Alma's Gathering Place. There are limited places, so search Our Land, Our Law on Humanitix to register for free. Help us pack out the courtroom for the next hearing of Uncle Robbie Thorpe's King Charles Aboriginal genocide case on Tuesday, December 2nd. There will be a smoking ceremony at 9 a.m. in front of the Supreme Court, 459 Lonsdale Street, Melbourne, with the hearing kicking off at 9:45. Crime Scene Australia is a 3CR supporter.
Genocide, it's a genocide. Genocide, it's a genocide.
And we have about just 1 minute before I'm out of here. And thank you to all our guests for coming onto the show. Thank you to June and Alison, and also Tom from the Refugee Action Collective. And yeah, it's goodbye from Marissa. Stay tuned every Monday for the Doing Time show from 4 to 5 p.m. Look after each other and stay strong.
As long as you are true fella, as long as you are real fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places. It doesn't matter what your name is. We got to have lots of changes. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we're shouting? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Black fella, white fella, yellow fella, any fella, it doesn't matter what you color, as long as you are true fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places. It doesn't matter which religions, it's all the same where the ship is sinking. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we shout it? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan?
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.